Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of GMS, a great millstone who teach and who rule well. Shalom, shalom. And, this is Brother Nabala here with another lesson, all right? And this is from the people's voice, all right? And, and as you can see here, all right, it says Mossad insider warns false flag in America worse than 9/11 when hand Israel full control of the U.S. All right, and as we can see, man, we're in the times that we're in, all right, we're seeing, all right, this war, all right, with Iran, Israel, and the U.S. All right, we're seeing these things, all right. And, as you can see here, it says Israel plotting, dirty bomb attack in the U.S. All right. And, that's, pretty much, Israel is pretty much going to bring, that false flag. All right. Is going to, eventually take place here. All right. In Babylon the Great. All right. And that false flag, eventually is going to be a gateway to bring in, all right, that MOTB, all right, it's just going to cause them to, ramp up their security measures, all right, and with them, with the sleeper cells and everything being here in Babylon the Great. All right, you just had that incident in Texas. All right, with that the the I don't know, he might be a Hamite. I don't know, but could be Jake. But he had that sweater that said the property of Allah. All right, so we know that that was an inside job. All right, we know that that was set up. All right, if you just watch that whole video, all right, you could just see that it just seemed set up. It just seemed like it was set up by the government. All right, and we know that's just how Esau gets down. All right, so with that, man, that's gonna give Esau Edom, all right, every reason, all right, to want to keep tabs of people. All right, and how they're gonna do that? All right, they're gonna do that through the microchip, the microchip, man. All right, that's what they're gonna do. All right, to keep tabs of who's who. All right, who is a T, ERRist. All right, and who's not. All right, who's what's that thing with ICE? Who's so-called illegal and who's not. All right, so these false flags are made to these false flags are made to try to scale Esau Edom's plans. All right, that's the point of these false flags. All right, is to scale Esau's plans. All right, and we're definitely in those times, man. All right, we're definitely in those times. All right, we're inching closer. We're inching closer and closer each and every day. All right, to the destruction of Babylon. All right, we're inching closer and closer every day to the MOTB being implemented. All right, which the MOTB is the RFID microchip. All right, according to the book of Revelations 13. All right, so as the scriptures say in the book of Ezekiel 3. All right, give them warning for me. All right, stand upon our watch. All right, so that's what I'm doing. All right, and anything that I see, anything that's relevant, all right, I'm gonna put it out there. All right, so it says here, it says Mossad insider warns false flags in America worse than 9/11 will hand Israel full control of the U.S. And ultimately, all right, that's the goal. All right, of these Edomites, all right, is to get full control. All right, just like what's his name said, what is it, oh man, I can't remember his name. Man, it'll pop up, but it was pretty much he did an interview about the RFID microchip. All right, and pretty much he said full control, like pretty much how they want to get full control of have full control of the citizens, have full control of the world. All right, through the RFID microchip. All right, so it says here, Israel plotting dirty bomb attacking the U.S. It says the walls are closing in the global elite. The walls are closing in on the global elite. The conspiracies are unraveling in real time. It says the covers. It says the cover story shredded, and the public has finally stopped buying the script. All right, because Yahweh Shemam Shai is exposing these devils. All right, he's exposing all their secret places. He's exposing all their plans. All right, and people are starting to see Esau Edom for who he really is. All right, Esau Edom, that man of sin. All right, that the son of perdition. All right, they're starting to see him for who he really is, man. All right. So that's scriptural, man. All right, Yahweh Shemam Shai is exposing these devils, man. All right. It says concerned and desperate. It says they're rolling the dice on this big one. It says military insiders and cyber defectors are blowing the whistle. A dirty bomb false flag on the U.S. soil, synchronized with a total cyber and communication blackout, power grid fried, banks frozen, phones dead, cities plunged into darkness and panic. All right, so that's ultimately the goal of these devils, man. All right, the goal of these devils, man, is to bring order out of chaos, man. All right, or order out of chaos. All right, they bring chaos and then they want to bring order. All right, so all these things are set up for that, man. That's exactly how they're going to do it. All right, they're going to bring chaos. All right, have an ultimatum or have a ultimatum or have a plan. All right, in order to bring that chaos into order. All right, and that's eventually going to be through that RFID hit. All right, that's the RFID microchip. All right, the mark of the beast. All right, that's the ultimate goal of Esau Edom. All right, and I just read not too long ago. All right, that the banks are uh, experiencing cyber attacks. All right, some banks are experiencing cyber attacks, man. All right, so these things are bound to happen. All right, and they will happen here in Babylon the Great. It says the playbook. It says the playbook crystal clear ignites the outrage bomb. Pin it all on Iran and heard the masses screaming into World War III. Seize control of D.C. Shove every so-called anti-Semite into gulags and roll out the one world government like it's destiny. There you go. All right, that's their whole plan, man. Is to roll out that one world government. All right, that new world order. All right, through these false flags. All right, that's their ultimate goal. All right, and yeah, that's their ultimate goal, man. All right, and so we know who's the forefront of all these things. We know Esau Edom. All right, is the elites, the so-called white man. All right, are behind. All right, all these false flags. All right, and of course they're gonna put the blame on Iran. That's what they did. All right, in the war with Iraq. All right, they blamed what's his name, Osama bin Laden or whatever his name, for the 9/11 event that happened. All right, so it's the same things that are taking place. Esau Edom, all right, he comes with the same tricks each and every time. All right, each and every single time he comes with the same tricks. All right, so eventually, it's gonna be a false flag. All right, that's gonna bring in all right that one world government. All right. It says, this isn't theory anymore. It says, this is the trap snapping shut. And the countdown just hit zero. It says, just as the U.S. plunges to war with Iran, all to sever Israel's Zionist agenda, Mossad operatives were caught red-handed in allied nations scheming epic false flags to hijack the headlines and control the chaos. You see? That's what they want to do, man. Order out of chaos, man. They want to have control, of the situation. All right. That's exactly what they want to do. They want to have control of the chaos, man. They and then bring an ultimatum or bring a solution. All right. It says, ask yourself, why is the media actively covering up this information? All right, that's what they do. All right, they cover up the information. Esau, Edom. All right, they're going to give you, a partial of the story. All right, who controls the media? All right, who controls the media, man? All right, these small hats. All right. It says in America, it says these countries host U.S. military bases. It says these countries are U.S. allies. It says the chaos and disorder is just getting started, according to the military insider who warned that Israel's false flags will not be limited to the Gulf. It says, but before we dive into the details, let's pause for a moment on something truly disturbing. Israel has grown so confident, so untouchable, all right, and that's the pride of Esau Edom. It says in its position right now, it says they're openly floating ideas for false flag operations, man. These damn devils, man. These devils. All right. And what does the scriptures tell you? Um, Matter of fact, we'll get the scriptures after we're done. Or matter of fact, let's get the book of Second Corinthians. Let's get the book of Second Corinthians 2:11. It says here, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right, now let's read the NLT. It says, so that Satan would not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes, man. Right, we're familiar with with Esau Edom's schemes, man. We're familiar with his devices. We know what's coming next, man. All right, we know what's coming next. All right, we know that a false flag is coming next, man. Just how they did in 9/11. All right, how they sat there and blamed Iraq or what's the name? I can't remember the guy's name, but Osama bin Laden and all that, the whole situation with that. We know that this is going to take place again. All right, in order for them to fulfill to try to fulfill their plans. All right, which is to bring in the mark of the beast, the RFID microchip, according to the book of Revelations 13. All right. Let's get the book of what is it, Proverbs. Or matter of fact, let's continue to read and we'll get that afterwards. Slakia. Let's get back to where we were. It says here, or you know what? No, let's get that right now, all right? Because it says that they're openly floating ideas for false flag operations, all right? So let's get the book of Proverbs. What is it, 4 and verse 16? All right, and it says here, it says, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief. All right, they sleep not, man. All right, and it says, and their sleep is taken. It says, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause them to fall. All right, so that's the whole motive of Esau Edom. All right, is to continually do evil. All right, to plot evil. All right, and this devil, man, he can't rest until he causes some type of causes somebody some type of destruction. All right, that's why he's known as the son of perdition, man. This devil doesn't sleep until he causes some to fall, man. Causes some type of destruction, some type of chaos. All right, this causes a man to fall into sin. All right, that's the nature of Esau Edom, man. He's the damn devil, man, that the Bible speaks of, man. All right, it says, for they eat the bread of wickedness, man. It says, and drink the wine of violence, man. That's Esau Edom, man. That's that violent man. That's that son of perdition. All right, they eat the bread of wickedness, man. All right, that's wicked. All right, the scriptures tell you, what is it? Is it the book of um, let's get that he is the border of wickedness. um, Salakia. See if I can find. I don't know if it's Malachi. Yeah, Malachi 1 and 4. It says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished. All right, meaning that they are troubled, but we will return and build desolate places. Thus said Yahweh Shai of hosts. It says, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. It says, the people against whom Yahweh Shai hath indignation forever. All right. So these damn devils, man, they're the border of wickedness. All right, they are the face of wickedness, man. The elites, all right, the Rothschilds, the Dufonts, the what's the you got the Rothschilds, the Dufonts, the Rockefellers, all right, all of these elite, Edomites, all right, from the head tribe of Amalek, man. They're all the border of wickedness, man. All right, they're damn devils. They're demons, man. They're devils. All right. Um, So, man, Yahweh Shema Shai, man, is gonna bring a heavy judgment on these damn devils, man, for what they're doing. All right, for plotting. All right, what does the scripture say? It says, "Woe to them." Is it Malachi 2? What is it? Woe to them. Let me see. What is it? Malachi? Let me see. Hold on. Woe to them. Is it Malachi or is it Micah? Micah 2:1. Slakia. This is Micah 2:1. All right, it says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity." All right, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because the power is in their hands. All right, so woe to these damn devils, man. All right, for plotting iniquity. All right. You see these devils, man. They because the power is in their hand. They got the power, man. That's their sword. All right, the sword is that's their sword, man. All right, the sword is to cause to is to cause destruction. All right, that's their sword, man. All right, the sword is through you know um sorcery, through witchcraft. All right, through deception. All right, through lies. All right, through their weapons. All right, that's Esau Edom's, that's his gift that he was blessed with, man. All right. So let's get back to this article. Slakia. Woe to these damn devils, man. All right. This, we can expect these things, man. That's why we gotta, be on our watch. All right, and pay attention to the time that we're in. All right, was Ephesians 5, and was it 14 or 15? It says, walk ye circumspectly. All right. Redeem, walk circumspectly, but for paraphrasing, redeeming the times because the days are evil. All right. It says here, where did I leave off at? Salakia. Um, it says they're tossing around different scenarios, debating ways to stage incidents and mislead the world all out in the open. You see, to stage incidents and mislead the world, man. All right, that's their, through media, through deception. You see, it says according to high-level military insider, Israel is secretly plotting a major false flag attack on American soil designed to be blamed on Iran. All right, that's what Esau does, man. All right, Esau always wants to point the finger, man. He always wants to point the finger, man, knowing damn well, he's behind this, man. It says in a calculated bid to terrorize the public and march them into lockstep into World War III. It says Matt Bracken, a former Navy SEAL and geopolitical expert, shared these warnings to highlight the risk of escalation in the Middle East. It says Bracken's reference Israel historical false flags, such as the 1967 Israeli attack on the USS Liberty. All right, you see? So Esau always comes up with the same tricks over and over and over again, man. That's why we read in the book of First Corinthians 2:11, man. Lest Satan should get an advantage over us, man. All right, we're just, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. All right. It says designed to draw America into war with Egypt. It says this remains the blueprint of how Israel might target U.S. ships in the Persian Gulf today. It says Bracken is urging extreme vigilance in the coming weeks, predicting that a staged incident blamed on Iran could rally public support for war, bypassing congressional approval and leading catastrophic consequences for American forces and the entire world. It says the New World Order blueprint is rolling out faster than you can say. It says Big Brother, and we just been blindsided by a stealth strike from the shadows. All right. So hey man, what is the first Thessalonians 5:3? They say peace and safety and sudden destruction to come upon them. All right, that's what these devils do, man. These devils put you to sleep. All right, and as it says here, all right, it says Slakia, it says, and we just been blindsided by the stealth strike from the shadows, man. All right, so they give you that peace and safety. All right, they tell you that everything's gonna be okay, but yet look here. All right, they sit there, U.S. and Israel, but they bombed Iran. All right, it says enter Larry Ellis. It says enter Larry Ellison, the world's second richest Mongol Oracle overlord, now puppeteering TikTok's algorithm after Trump's forced handover and gobbling up half of the mainstream media like CBS and CNN to lock down the narrative. It says in a jaw-dropping slip, or was it, this pro-Israel billionaire spilled the beans on the elites endgame, total AI-fueled surveillance of every American. It says cameras everywhere, data harvested in real time, citizens on the best behavior because the system always watching, recording, and judging. How much more do I got left on here? Man, this is pretty much a lengthy read, but the whole point is, all right, of this is that these devils are plotting something, man. All right, and a false flag is bound to happen. All right, in order to bring in that the MOTB. All right, so we can expect, all right, this devil, all right, to come down with great wrath, as the book of Revelations 12:12 says, which we'll get. All right, let's get the book of Revelations 12:12. All right. It says, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows he had a short time. So this devil's going to come down having great wrath because he knows his time is short. So Esau, Edom, he's going to go all out. All right, he's going to go all out, and he's going to, do what he has to do. All right, in order to bring in, all right, this Michael Hip, man. All right, in order to bring in this false flag to bring in this Michael Hip. All right. I wanted to finish off with this in the book of what is it, Psalm 64. We'll finish off with this. All right, this is a prayer from David. All right, it says prayer from deliverance from the secret enemies. It says to the chief musician, it says a psalm of David. It says, hear my voice, O Yahweh Shemam Shai, in my prayer. Preserve my life from the fear of the enemy. All right, the enemy being who? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right. It says, hide me from their secret counsel. All right, of the wicked, or the secret counsel of the wicked. All right, the elites. All right, the who people call today the Illuminati. It says, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. It says, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows and shoot their shoot their arrows, even bitter words. It says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. All right, and that's what they do, man. They shoot in secret at the perfect. They plot are against the perfect, against the Israelites. All right, against the elect. It says suddenly do they shoot at him and fear. Is shoot at him and fear not. All right, and it says they encourage themselves in an evil matter. Right, they encourage themselves in the evil matter. May they know nothing but to do mischief, but to do evil. It says they commune of laying snares privately. You see, it says, and they say, "Who shall see them?" All right, that's what they do. All right, it says, they lay snares in secret. That's why they have all these meetings, man. All right, that's why they meet up with each other and have all these meetings in Davos, man. That's what they do, man. They're plotting, to bring forth chaos. All right. It says they search out iniquities. It says they accomplish a diligent search. It says both inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. It says, but Yahweh Shai shall shoot at them with an arrow, and suddenly shall they be wounded. All right. And so shall they make their own tongue fall upon themselves. It says all that see them shall flee away. And that's exactly what Esau Edom is doing. All right. His own tongue is falling upon himself, man. It says, what does the scripture say? The scripture says a prudent man foreseeth evil and hide himself. All right, and it says all men shall fear and shall declare the work of Yahweh Shemau Shai, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. It says the righteous shall be glad in Yahweh Shemau Shai, so trust in him, and all the upright heart shall glory. All right, so this devil, man, we know that this devil's up to something. We know that this devil is planning, a false flag, and we know, the times that we're in. All right, we're in real perilous times right now. All right, so with that being said, I'd like to give our praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. All right, and double honors unto our elders and apostles of GMS Great Millstone. Once again, this is Brother Nabal. Until the next lesson, Shalom, Shalom.